All right, start off the ceremony tonight. I'd like to introduce our superintendent of schools, Dr. Brad Ritchie, and he has a few words to say to us.
Smattering of applause, I appreciate that. On these winter days, I'm not a very popular person sometimes, so my second job as a forecaster has been difficult lately. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Milton Union Schools. Welcome back to Milton Union High School. I appreciate you all braving the weather this evening and this week to be here. I know we have friends and partners of the Milton Union Schools that have traveled far and wide to be here, local and many miles. So planned far in advance to be here, and we appreciate that. I did not know very much about this event when I started last year. I think I'd been on the job for about 4 months, and I didn't really know what to expect. And at the end of the evening, I can say, looking back on last year, it was probably one of the best events that has been organized and handled by the Hall of Fame Committee or anyone connected with Milton Union Schools. The acceptance speeches were outstanding. They reflected on wonderful public school careers, wonderful athletic careers, and great careers professionally. So they were wonderful. And I was very entertained and engaged by our inductees last year. So these folks up here, they have a lot to live up to, because I came here this evening with pretty high expectations, and I'm looking forward to it. So let me be the first to congratulate them this evening. You have a lot to live up to. Looking forward to it. Happy to welcome you back. Happy to have all of you here. Thank you so much.
Well, I'd like to reiterate that welcome. This is our 13th annual Milton Union High School Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm Dr. Bill Ginn. I've had the pleasure and honor of being the Master of Ceremonies for all 13 of the inductions. And it's one of my greatest honors to be up here, not only to induct our new Hall of Famers, but to also recognize the collection of all Ohioans, all Americans, Olympic champions, record-setting players, legendary coaches, and even professional athletes who have been inducted into the Milton Union Athletic Hall of Fame. So starting off, I'd like to recognize some members of our high school administration who are in attendance today. You met Dr. Ritchie from the Board of Education. I know there are a couple members here. Lori Ginn Parsons, Doug Thompson sitting back there. Thank you guys for being here. Administrators for our school, I know Jessica Mumar, our high school principal, is here somewhere. Jessica's in the back. Thank you, Jessica. So at this time, I'd like to take a moment to recognize all of our Hall of Famers. And if you're in attendance, please stand for a moment and be recognized. And I'm just going to read down the list, and if you hear your name, please stand. Starting off, as always, with Diana Brumbaugh Finfrock. Tom Gingrich. Chuck Green, Kelly Behrens Hoffman, Bob Schul, Melissa Marshall Vance, Steve Huffman, Terry Tyson, Sally Dickinson, Ron Berner, Mike Kelly, Kenny Beard, Jenny Sako McGrath, Hal Adkins, Margie Coate, Sharon Paul, Katara Swank Sweargen, Todd Berner, Dave Fine, Lori Kinnison-Meyer, Clint Magel, Courtney Kreger, Chantel Van Dyke Rammel, Joe Creech, Steve Brumbaugh, Scott Strain, Jane Winters Bickley, Kent Dellinger, Rusty Berner, Ron Hall, John Brumbaugh, Megan Swafford Conley, Doug Studebaker, Trent Thompson, Aaron Storer Cooper, and Jennifer Ginn Thompson. The following names are members of our Hall of Fame who are no longer with us, and I would like to recognize them as well. If you are someone who is here representing one of these folks, please, I would ask you to stand and be recognized as well. Ken Hemrick, William C. Ginn, Bill Fox, Charles Fox, Watt Farrar, Carl Brumbaugh, David Kripe, Ron Peel, Ed Lendensky, Dick Overla, Ralph Hildebrand, Rex Warner, and Bill Carnes. And with that, on with the introductions. So honorees, we try to keep our program pretty loose and lighthearted. So in that vein, I have put a few facts together about you today for our audience. And I would suggest that if any of these facts are incorrect and they're good, don't say anything, because no one here knows the difference. Okay. I punched it up. Our first honoree today comes for us from the class of 1984. That's Kyle Grillo. Kyle's qualification for Hall of Fame started with 2 varsity football letters, a first-team All-Southwestern Rivers Conference selection as a linebacker in 1983, and an all-area selection that season. And they end with a remarkable wrestling career that culminated with an appearance in the 1988 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships. While wrestling at Milton, Kyle earned varsity letters all 4 years of his career and was his team's captain in 1983 and 1984. He was SRC champion for 3 consecutive years and was selected to the all-area wrestling team for those 3 years as well. He was twice sectional and district champion and appeared in the Ohio High School Wrestling Championships from 1982 to 1984. His best finish was a state runner-up as a 155-pounder in 1984. He finished his high school career with a record of 149-16. He took his skills to Ohio University, where he lettered for 4 years, captaining his team his junior and senior years. Wrestling as a 177-pounder, he was a Mid-American Conference champion for the Bobcats, and his conference title in 1988 earned him a spot in the 1988 NCAA Division I Wrestling Championships. He won his first round match, but lost in the second round to the eventual third-place finisher. Kyle remains involved in wrestling as an official and an instructor of officials in the Dayton area. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Kyle Grillo.
Wow, that was outstanding. I hope someone recorded that. I'd like to make it my ringtone. I want to start by saying happy birthday to my mother. She's sitting over there. She'll be 85 next week. You bump into her and tell her happy birthday. Don't get it too hard, we won't break a hip. West Milton, Milton Union, the Hall of Fame. To be selected and put on to the Hall of Fame with athletes that I grew up with admiring and the athletes who followed me that did great things, including the athletes on the stage here, is certainly an honor, and I appreciate it. Just saying thank you and that's an honor. It doesn't seem enough. West Milton, Milton Union, the school, is the epicenter of West Milton, a great place. You learn so many lessons with sports, and everyone helps you along the way. You know, I've had so many coaches, and I'd like to thank them all, but you know, I would forget somebody, of course, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to generically, I've thanked them through the years, and generically thank all of my coaches. They've all taken care of me, particularly my freshman year. Keith Kaufman, many of you know him. He kind of took me under my wing, or under his wing, my freshman year, and I'll never forget my first varsity tournament. I pulled out my new lock I got. I didn't lose anything. And I took the combination off and I gave it to Keith, and I said, hey, can you take care of this for me? I'm going to forget this lock. And, you know, he didn't have to do that. He did. And sure, I'll take care of it. And, you know, fast forward 4 years. He's not my coach anymore. I had a different coach my senior year, but he came to my house the day I was leaving for the state tournament. He opened the door and I was surprised, and there's Keith, and we hugged each other, and he pulled out that combination. You know, hey, what are you doing here? You know, I thought you could use this combination. And I looked at him and he looked at me, and I thought, I threw that lock away 3 years ago. It was a special thing. That's what the school is about, the entity of athletics. You learn so many different lessons here at West Milton, pride and tradition. You know, honestly, when they were tearing down my old high school, I thought, gosh, they're going to lose so much by putting up a generic building with no tradition and no pride. Not the case. I was telling a friend of mine who actually has a kid in school here, and they said, Kyle, it's not the school, the bricks and sticks, it's the people. And you don't just get the pride. It's grown within you. You know, I learned pride. My journey to learning pride, I guess, started December 24th. I'll never forget it. 1980, about 1 o'clock. I was sitting in my room complaining to my brother, sitting right there. Gosh, I can't eat. It's Christmas Eve. I gotta go put these sweats on and run some more. And I'm complaining and complaining. He left the room. He returned, threw a sweatshirt at me, red hoodie. Picked it up. How about them dogs? Big bulldog, big bulldog on it. He had taken the time to pin every little pendant we had. You know those silly pendants you get, bulldog football and things you wear on Friday nights. He put every one we had on the house there. I took those silly things off and put the hood on and went running, and thought, gosh, why would he do that? He was proud. He was proud of the school, and he wanted, you know, he was a varsity athlete. He wanted me to be proud too. So I didn't just flip a switch. I got all this bulldog pride in me, but I started my journey of being proud of the school, and he used to thank me there. You know, you learn all these life lessons with sports. You know, sacrifice and dedication. Every athlete sacrifices, but gosh, the sacrifice from my parents, my mother and father, it was remarkable. My mom and dad worked at the bowling alley. My mom would come pick me up from practice, take me home, hustle back to work, not say a word. My dad would wait to get my schedule so he could arrange events around my tournaments. I'm the only wrestler. Everyone in my family is a basketball player. So my dad didn't know anything about the sport. He would come to my practices in his free time to learn more about the sport, of course. I'll never forget him dropping me off for one of the finals my sophomore year. I was getting out of his truck, and he said, hey, you know that move you run where you push his head down and flip him over? Which, if you know anything about wrestling, that's like every move. And I said, sure, Dad. He said, you know, I want you to run that tonight. Okay, all right. He was proud, sacrificed. But every lesson here at Milton Union that you learn with sports or for sports isn't taught or learned on a field, in a gym. The most powerful lesson I learned and took with me through my entire life, I didn't learn in a gym, a classroom, was the epicenter. You see, at West Milton, everybody contributes to the sport, the athlete. Now, I've only thought of this in my head, how I was going to present this, and it's personal to me. So, hang in there. I was in a classroom, listening to Richard Barker, sitting right over there, drone on about speech. I was listening to him, thinking about problems with sport. So he noticed that, teary-eyed probably. He touched me on the shoulder. He didn't break stride. He kept lecturing. He said, leave the room. I got up and left. he did that and lectured on. But later that day, he called me back to the room and said, hey, what's going on? What's the problem? We talked, and I felt great. You know, afterwards, I laughed a lot. It was a good thing. It was good. But it didn't stop there. The next day, I'm walking through the hall, and he grabs me by the shoulder and says, hey, I got this for you. Pulled out that envelope. It was a poem, by the way. Now that poem has gotten me through the worst practices, the most difficult times. That poem I've said in my head, if not monthly, gosh, regularly. Practices at school, running the steps alone at Ohio U, just struggling through practices while you're cutting weight. That poem has taken me through it all. I looked at that envelope and opened it up, of course. Now, Rich, he told me, I was thinking about you last night. Here's a teacher who got me out of class because, saved me the embarrassment of crying in class. Pulled me aside because he cared about me, and then did some legwork to find a poem for me. The internet, Al Gore hadn't invented it yet. It was the 80s. He got it at a library. I don't know where he got it, but he did some legwork. It's pretty hard to say. It's a good poem. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low, the stakes are high, the world makes you smile, you just want to cry. When life is pressing you down a bit, Kyle, rest if you must, but never quit. Monthly, regularly, that poem has gone through my head. Because at West Milton, everybody cares. Everybody contributes. The coaches, the students, the teachers, the student athletes. So I want to thank Rich Barger, my brother, my mother. I certainly want to acknowledge my wife and son. But I also want to thank West Milton and Milton Union in whole, because they've all contributed to the success I've had. Thank you.
Well, that's a tough act to follow. You know, I do a lot of research, and I have the names of the guys that beat you, if you'd like to know those sometime.
I know.
Okay. Our second honoree today is Jen Stacey-Bradley, class of 1999. Jen won 9 varsity M's from 1996 to 1999, earning 2 in softball, 3 in volleyball, and 4 in basketball during her Milton Union career. Jen was a natural athlete, but probably would not have had the wonderful career she had if Coach Sharon Paul hadn't witnessed her ability in a middle school gym class and referred her to Sally Dickinson, who was coaching volleyball at the time. Sally convinced her to switch from cheerleading to volleyball, and the rest, as they say, is history. She was a starter during her short softball career, but really came to shine in the court sports, basketball and volleyball. In basketball, Jen was a 3-time All-Southwestern Rivers Conference selection and her team's MVP in the 1998-99 season. She ended her basketball career 6th on the career scoring list and 3rd on the career rebounding list, and is one of only 6 players in Milton Union history to have 500 points scored and 500 rebounds collected during her career. In volleyball, Jen ended her career as one of the greatest players in Milton Union history. She twice led her team in kills and aces. She was chosen to the first team All-SRC squads in 1997 and 1998 and was her team's MVP in 1998. In 1997, she was voted to the All-Ohio third team and followed that in 1998 with a vote to the All-Ohio second team, making her one of only 3 MU players ever to be chosen All-Ohio twice. She played collegiately at Wittenberg University and led her twice while she was there. And Jen, your name still strikes fear in the hearts of my volleyball players. I've got a couple here today, because every day at my practices we do Jen Stacey push-ups. Jen came back to practice one time and showed us a technique of push-ups that was really tough, and my girls all groan when I say, let's do some Jen Stacey push-ups. Jen continued to be involved in volleyball upon graduation by coaching one of her local junior Olympic volleyball teams, and was chosen Club Coach of the Year for her efforts that season. She continues to be physically active, has completed 6 marathons and a 200-mile race across to Oregon. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer, Jen Stacey-Bradley.
Thank you. First, thank you to my family, my husband Bryce, my daughter Libby, my parents, my coaches, my fellow teammates, my friends, everyone who made it out. I really appreciate it. When I received a call from Doc, I was surprised and very thankful. I started thinking through, what I wanted to say, and I have to admit, I got a little emotional. I told myself I wasn't going to cry tonight, but I'm a big sap now, so. Not often are we forced to really stop and reflect on those who come into our lives and really make an impact. So for that opportunity, I'm very grateful. Fellow Hall of Famers, it's such an honor to be recognized with you. I grew up hearing your names amongst the all-time best sports stories that have come out of this gym, or that gym, and off the field. So thank you for setting the bar. Mom, after having Kinsey, my stepdaughter, and Libby, who will probably and hopefully live in the gym between her pushy and competitive mom and her 6'6" dad. We're hoping for a scholarship there. I had no idea the sacrifice, the nights, the weekends, you never missed a game, the emotions you had to put up with after a bad practice, after a bad game. Thank you. Mom, Dad, and Kim, thank you for your hard work, for allowing me to play any sport that I wanted and all the travel ball I can manage. Thank you for letting me fall so I know how to get back up. Coaches and friends, where do I start? First, Sharon Paul, thank you for dragging me out of tennis in gym class and introducing me to Dickie. Jody, thank you for encouraging me to play volleyball and passing down a lucky number 13, which will forever live. You were like a sister to me, and those moments changed my future forever. Shirley, you are always in my corner, cheering me on, both on and off the court, and here I go, in many areas of life, and you both have made a permanent mark on my heart. Pink, who I know is with us, and Dickie, thank you for taking a chance on me as a freshman. You knew nothing about volleyball, and up until that point only had a basketball and a softball in my hands. Your drills, your commitment, your ability to create a sense of team and teamwork and what that means. For years, you've created a process that is proven and repeatable, and which has led you to so many victories and such an amazing coaching career. Thank you for constantly pushing me on and off the court to not only be an athlete, but a student, how to represent those who have invested in me. You made me fall in love with the sport and want to play college ball, and then on to sand, where I met my husband, who also plays. Doc, thank you for pushing me to the point of frustration in our practices, which I'm sure your players can attest to. So I knew how to work through emotions, for spiking the ball a little harder at me so I could learn to work through fear, and for taping my endless ankle injuries. Off the court, I had the privilege of taking stats with Doc at football games and riding to most of those with him. Thank you for teaching me a new skill, for teaching me how to play the air drums on my steering wheel, and what really good music meant. My teenage self would be remiss not to add a thank you for letting me be a little closer on the field to those football players. Sarver, Coach Sarver, so much to say about you. Thank you for opening your barn for extra practices, your home for pregame meals. Thank you for believing in me and pushing me to master the foul shot and the weak side rebound, because that's where games are won. You never let me quit. You picked on me in drills. You made me run suicides over and over again. Right, Chrissy? And now I get why. I appreciate how you had faith in me to pull through for our team, how you made me represent a leader. Off the court, you supported me in so many ways, and I'm forever grateful. I still get asked about that mystery man who cut a rug and spun me around at my wedding, so I really appreciate you for keeping your promise of that dance. Wheeler, Brockman, and Kim, Thank you for blocking my shots, double teaming me, and making me work through all the sweat and the tears. I'm grateful. From the sidelines, I watched a dear friend being coached through football and wrestling. And to those coaches who are here, you also have made an impact on those observing your commitment and your dedication to your athletes. You know, I started coaching junior Olympic volleyball really because you all have inspired me to pay it forward. And I'd like to share with you a note for one of my players, not to be boastful, so just bear with me. Coach Brad, as they called me, is one of those coaches that you remember, one that somehow doesn't get lost in the mix of coaches and trainers you work with over the years. She crafted an environment that loved the game of volleyball, but we knew it wasn't the top priority of our season. She poured into our hearts and allowed us to grow from our contact with each other. She loved us fiercely, which sometimes translated into yelling, but she knew we were capable of incredible things. But other times, it looked like we took time to truly invest in each other spiritually. We prayed together, we laughed together, we fought together. I value her presence as a second mother mother figure in my life, which extended far beyond the confines of volleyball. She established relationships with each of us and manages to keep in contact with us today, and I can say she's my favorite coach. So I share that with you, not because, again, to be boastful, but I can't take credit for any one of those words. Every bit of that is due to all of you. It is a direct reflection of each person that I mentioned. I learned all of that from you, so thank you. Your support, your encouragement, your faith in God. I've used these lessons not only with my team, but with my employees. So teachers, coaches, keep doing what you're doing. You're changing their lives by investing in these kids' futures. I believe we are not meant to walk alone, and I encourage each of you to continue making these kids and each other feel known and loved. Thank you.
Dang, Hobbs, you better be good. All right, next up is Travis Hobbs, class of 99, also from the class of 1999. Travis won 10 varsity letters from 1995 to 1999, 2 in basketball, 4 in football, and 4 in track. Travis was a talented 3-sport athlete who excelled in football and track. He was an all-around threat in football, as evidenced by his position as the #1 all-purpose yardage career leader at the time of his graduation. He gained over 3,000 yards in his career, and his rushing yardage total of nearly 2,000 yards ranked him number 7 on Milton's career list when he graduated. He held Milton Union's career interception record until it was broken by the next Hall of Famer I'm going to introduce. He was twice named All-Southwestern Rivers Conference as a running back and as a defensive back as well. Travis excelled to the greatest extent in track, ending his MU career number 3 in the career scoring list. He held 3 MU school records, had 4 conference championships, 4 district championships, and qualified for the state track meet twice, finishing 2nd in the 800-meter run in 1998 and 7th in that race in 1999. He was Milton Union's most valuable runner 3 times and attended Bowling Green State University on a track scholarship where he earned 2 varsity letters. I would be remiss if I didn't mention what all of us remember well about Travis, and that is his impish, prankster-like personality. His mom told me a story just recently I want to relate, and it substantiates my memory of Travis. Apparently Travis was acting a fool, that's what your mom said, acting a fool before a race, and he would tend to do that at times. And his father, Dan, came up to Jane and said, "You need to do something with your son." So Jane went to Travis and she said, "Travis, are you messing around? Don't answer that. I know you are. Stop it. Your dad is on me, so I'm going to be on you. To just go win the race." So Travis won the race. And as he crossed the finish line, Dan turned to Jane and he said, "I'm glad I had that talk with that boy." Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Travis Hobbs.
Thank you, Doc. I'm just glad it wasn't a story about a physical or something you gave me. Yeah, been a short story. Anyways, we'll bring this thing back in. And
make it a little PG rated. So to get started, guys, I'd like to thank the Milton Union administration, staff, and the Hall of Fame committee for finding anything I did athletically worthy of this induction. It's pretty crazy. So I got my family and friends here. Thanks, guys, for coming. For me, everything I ever accomplished was because of the teams I was on. I'm not going to stand up here and take credit for anything that I did individually, because that's not really the way I am. And this is something that's really special to me. Excuse me. It shouldn't be this hard, but it is. I'm not the type of guy to stand up here and really reflect and take credit for a lot of my stuff. I'm really just I'm actually kind of nervous about this, if you can't tell. So, anyways, I started reflecting as Dickie gave me the call on this and what I would actually talk about, and I ran through the speech a couple times, and the first time I did it took like 40 minutes, and I'm not going to do that to you guys. I've really cut it down, and I'm not going to be the guy that stands up here and talks for an hour. So, most of the classmates and teammates and everything that's shaped my life are from the classes of 98, 99, and 2000. Playing football with Joe and Ryan and Ben. Ben's not here tonight. These are three guys that have impacted me deeply, and I just can't say enough about those guys. Moving along, I would give anything to play football with you guys again. It was incredible. Moving along to basketball, because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time crying up here. In 1998 and 1999, we had a lot of incredible teams, and it has burned memories into my head of watching Rusty and Joe and Michael and all these guys that we grew up playing basketball with, and making it so far in the tournament in '98, playing down at UD and all those memories. It was actually pretty crazy. Every time I see UD on TV now, it brings back those memories. And then in '99, we won Upton. We actually won down at UD, and then we got to play at Wright State in the regional semis. And what an incredible memory with Stephen Matthews and Zach Smith and Chris Fulton and all those guys. It's just, I actually was talking to Stephen today. He couldn't be here. He lives out in Virginia now. And it was just incredible watching, Rusty and Stephen. We didn't have to do much because those guys would just score all the time. So the rest of us would just find a way to get those boys open and let them do the thing. But it is absolutely incredible to be up here and be mentioned in the same breath as some of these guys, because they're guys that I've always looked up to. It's just, I don't know, this is just overwhelming for me. And I actually got a call from Coach Thompson, I don't know, probably a week ago, and it was good to hear from him. He's not here right now, he's going to be here later. And I asked him to wear his pink sweater. He always wore this pink sweater. The thing was, you remember that thing though? Yeah, it was always nasty and like really matted. I don't even know if he still has it. But does he have it, Russ? I asked him to wear it. I don't know that he will wear it, but I did ask him to do that. So, anyways, I just want to talk briefly about track. Track, I don't know, it changed my life for me. As Doc was mentioning, I'm a guy that I like to have a lot of fun, but I also always had a lot of energy, and I think that was the way that my parents just got me to burn it off, telling me to get the hell out of the house and go find something to do. So normally I was out running around, and it just stuck. And there were a couple things that really changed sports for me, specifically track, and they happened in 1996, and I just want to take a minute to talk about those things. The first thing was Joe Creech, when he won the state title in wrestling in '96. I remember talking to Joe after that, after he, everything, the smoke kind of cleared from that, and we were just kind of talking at school about, I couldn't believe that he had won a state title, and at the time, I didn't even think that was possible for somebody at Milton. I didn't even dream that big. And Joe told me something that stuck with me to this day. He said, you know what, man? He goes, you don't have to be, in his case, the best wrestler, or in my case, the best athlete. He just said, you know, you have to be big in the big moments. And I think those of you guys that know Joe Creech, he won't sit up here and tell you that he was the best wrestler even on his team. He just kind of had a big meet that year. I mean, he was a hell of a wrestler, don't get me wrong, but I think that he came up big in the big moments, and for him, it was huge, and that's something that stuck with me. And then also, the summer of '96 is when Michael Johnson broke 2, world records, one in the 200 and one in the 400, and for me, that changed everything. It kind of put, sports into perspective for me, and I realized that, I didn't think I'd break any world records, but for me, I made a bet with myself, and the bet was, if you're gonna go to college and get somebody else to pay for it, it's gonna be through running. And I made a bet that said, I'm not going to college unless I get a scholarship. So I set out on a quest to do that, and in 1998, I got second in the 800 at the Horseshoe, and it was incredible. I don't know how that happened. I should have won, and to be honest with you guys, but I messed up really early on, and I got boxed in, and I just made a stupid move, but I closed pretty hard. And when I was looking for a picture for the plaque we're going to receive later, I actually found a picture that somebody had taken. It was probably my sister, and it showed the group of runners as we came across the first lap, right? And after the first lap, I'd made such a bad move. I was in 13th place. And I don't know how I closed that second lap. I don't know how I did it. Anyways, some individual thank yous I want to do before I get off of this stage. I want to thank my sister and brother-in-law for coming. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Ryan, Joe, thank you guys. Russ, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Joe Blackburn, thank you. Daniel Evans, good to see you, buddy. I appreciate you always pointing me in the right direction in football when I couldn't remember the play you called. Hey, it helped. You and Nelson, I remember, they'd be like, which play did you just call? And you're like, dude, just go that way. That actually did happen on several occasions. Yeah, Mom and Dad, thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Mom, I can't thank you enough. All the driving around, it had to be tough, especially with me not shutting up ever, so appreciate that. Dad, I want to apologize because I told you I was going to make fun of you up here, and that's probably going to happen. So, something you got to know about my dad, relentless when it comes to like perfection of anything. So I come home, and Kyle, I wrestled not to your level, but I did it in middle school, and I'd come home and provide therapy for my dad. I'd get home and all the furniture would be pushed back in the living room, and my dad really wanted me to wrestle on, I think, we won't call it varsity, but like, be the actual wrestler. Not when you don't run your wrestle offs, you have to watch, right? So in 7th grade, I didn't wrestle on the first team. Well, Dad and I would just go at it in the middle of the living room, knowing when to stop when we got close to my mom's favorite lamb. And I think that provided a lot of therapy for my dad. Also, I take a lot of what my dad says as a suggestion. So when he tells me to take out the trash, he means now. I know that the trash man's not going to be there until the morning. So I'm just going to sit there and do what I want. And then you hear the trash cans going down the driveway, and I would go out and ask him what he was doing, and then he would get mad, and a little back and forth. And I could continue, Dad, but I don't want to do that to you. But thank you for everything. Thanks for leaving the notes for me. Thank you for having me write down my goals. That's something I still do. I still have my goals in my wallet. Just thanks for everything. Coach Beard, thank you. Appreciate it. Coach Beard single-handedly built, he had a company come in and do it, but he provided most of the groundwork for the track out here. And you guys know it's a hell of a facility. It was better than the facility I ran under Bowling Green, the outdoor facility anyway. And it was just a pleasure to run out there and run for you. I appreciate that. Dickie, wherever you're at, okay, yeah, there you are. Thank you for everything. So one thing that Dickie would always do for me is she would always stretch me out before my races. And then she would always lie to me and tell me how flexible I was, even though I wasn't. And then she would tell me how good I was going to do, and when I didn't think I was going to. And she just gave me a lot of confidence, and I want to thank you for all that. No. To my kids, hi Griff. I know, stop crying, right? Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. If you guys get a chance to meet my kids, they're amazing. They're the three running around here making all the noise. Griffin, Maddie, Maya, we love you very much. We're very proud of you. Brianna, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Ian, thanks, dude. Appreciate you coming. That's my nephew. He's never been to one of these things, so he wanted to come. So in closing, I just want to say that I'm truly humbled by this award. It's an absolute honor to be inducted in this Hall of Fame. And I'm really grateful for my time at Milton Union, and the new school is amazing. This is like the third time I've been in here, and it's crazy. I want to say thank you to the alumni, thank you to the Hall of Fame committee that puts this thing on. It's amazing. Doc Ian, thank you for all the kind words earlier. Ron Berner, thank you for reaching out and being relentless about everything to get us to this point. And you know I tried to mention people by name. There's a lot of people I didn't mention. I'm sorry if I left you out, but it's kind of the way it goes in these things. So no, I'm extremely grateful for everybody I've had in my life, and I'd like to thank everybody for letting me share some of my experiences and get up here and cry in front of you guys. This has truly been very special for me and my family, so thank you guys. We'll talk later. Thanks.
Well, since you brought it up, I'm going to tell a story about your physical. Okay, so I can't remember what physical it was for Travis, but he had this thing that he would do. And I'd check his head, and I'd check his heart. And then I'd lay him down at the table to examine his abdomen. And the first time I ever examined him, I put my hand on his stomach, and I pushed, and you would have thought I hit, I don't know what. He jumped, screamed off the table, oh, God. You know, I'm like, holy, what's going on, you know? And then I looked at him, he's kind of got that impish grin on his face. So, you know, next year, of course, I'd forgotten about that. I think he was a sophomore. Next year, same thing. Got me again, okay? Junior, I thought, I'm thinking the whole year, that Hobbs kid is not going to give me, damn it if he didn't give me that time too. Finally, when he was a senior, he got me that time too. So. All right. If we've ever had a no-doubter decision for our Athletic Hall of Fame, it was our next honoree, Mitchell Evans. Mitchell earned 12 varsity letters in football, basketball, and baseball from 2003 to 2007. He excelled in each and every sport he played. In baseball, he earned all-league and all-district honors. In basketball, Mitchell started 80 games for the Bulldogs, the most ever games started by a player. And by the end of his career, he had amassed 1,086 points, good for number 2 on the career scoring list. His nearly 500 rebounds ranked him number 5 on the career rebounding list, and he finished his career 7th on the career assist list. He was named the All-SWBL basketball team 4 times. With all of those superlatives, it's really hard to believe that his accomplishments in football were far greater. He played in 43 games for Milton, and as quarterback led the Bulldogs to their first league championship in 24 years. And he didn't do it just one time, he did it twice. He also led us to 2 consecutive appearances in the state football playoffs. He holds or shares 28 Milton Union football records, and here are just a few of them. He's the only player ever to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards passing in the same season. He broke the single season total offense record by over 1,500 yards, and he holds the career total offense record by over 4,000 yards. He has the longest pass completion of 86 yards, and the 3rd longest run from scrimmage, 91 yards in Milton history. His 40 touchdown passes during his career broke the existing record by 16 touchdown passes. He was 3 times the All-SWBL first-team quarterback and Offensive Player of the Year in 2006, after being the Defensive Player of the Year in 2005. And he played in the U.S. Army All-America game. He was the District Offensive Player of the Year in 2005 and 2006, and he was first-team All-Ohio those years as well. This type of ability took him to Indiana University on a full scholarship, where he won 4 varsity letters, was twice academic All-Big Ten, and he won the coveted Pete Schmidt Award his senior year, which goes annually to the Indiana player who is felt to have put his team above himself more than anyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Famer Mitch Evans.
Stay up. All right, thank you for that, Doc. Something you just said there, I had no idea about. I started the most games in NBA or in basketball history with no one, and I'm 5th on the rebounding list. How lousy is that? 5th. Gosh, man. So after something like that, I was also thinking about in my household. I don't actively talk about my collegiate career. But eventually when I meet new people, it comes out, whether it be, when we talk to them for the 3rd time, or it might be that night. But once they find out, they start asking me multiple questions. And every single time, my wife likes to make sure I'm humble, I guess, but she likes to, she's looking at me funny, tell the most embarrassing story of my collegiate career, and just to make sure that my head doesn't get too big. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to get off my chest here. I'm going to tell you guys my most embarrassing story here. So it was my junior year, and I was battling a high ankle sprain the entire year. She's recording this too. High ankle sprain. So if you guys never had one, like one little hit to it, you pretty much you're going back to square one. So I sat out like a couple games. I actually sat out the game before, but my junior year, we were playing Illinois at home, and I was having a good game. I had I was coming up on 100 yards rushing, and it wasn't even halftime yet. So we're going out here, and we're going on like the 40 yards going in, 40-yard line going in, and I'm playing quarterback here. And so I look over at my coach, and he gives us a hard count, and I give him a hard count, and I look back over, and he gives me this our sign, which means I have to basically drop back and punt the ball. And when I'm doing this here, I had a high ankle sprain, so I couldn't even point my toe. It was wrapped so heavily. So if you guys ever try to punt a ball without being able to point your toe, it goes straight up. Like 11 yards straight up, like to that white table. And it was so short that the opposing team, the guys that usually don't even have to worry about it hit one of them. And we recovered it for a first down. So my biggest mess up ends up getting us a first down. And I have another story, it's just like, I won't go there. But now that's off my chest. I punted the ball for 11 yards. Guys, I could go out there and kick left-footed farther than 11 yards right now. You guys, thank you so much for having me here. I'm very honored. It feels like high school, in a way, it seems like it was just yesterday, but it's hard to believe it's been 10 years. Obviously, a lot of thank yous go into this. First off, the committee for having me here and putting this on. Sorry about my delayed emails. I'm not great with that, I admit it. Thank you to my family, to my parents. They too, like Travis, made me go outside. Thank you for making me go outside and play. My brother for motivating me, betting me and Jason, Tyler, that Michael Jordan rookie card that if we ever beat you, we never got. To my sister for proving me or teaching me, I should say, that I don't like to lose to a girl. So thank you for that. There's so many people in here that had an impact on my lives. I remember watching Travis all the time. I was the ball boy for their fruit team. You had this huge face mask. Yeah. Shorter pads out here, yeah. And I remember one time you scored against, I think it was Graham or Miami East, and you did this flip to the ref on your touchdown celebration. Dude, I used to do that flip all the time. I love that. To Rusty, I loved watching you grow up. I mean, those Rusty chants, they were awesome. That's just such a cool thing here. And being an athlete, when you see something like that, it just makes you get even more motivated and go out and want to do it on your own, whether you're just practicing or actually in a game. To my coaches, there's so many here, and so many coaches that I've had over the years. You know, you can't really say anything, but thank you for everything here. I know you guys did a lot for me, and if even if it wasn't skill related, whether it be the time you spent coming up with game plans or just teach me how to act around somebody or just stuff like that, I definitely noticed those things. So thank you for that. Sports in general were just they were everything for me here. It was I think the thing I loved most about them was trying to get better at them. So whether it be, I kind of carry this over to my own golf game now. I think the thing I like about golf now is just trying to get better at it. But growing up, that was the thing that I loved the most, seeing what I could do and try to push myself to be even better. And it led me to a lot of other things here. It led me to a lot of great friends. A lot of them are here today. Thank you guys for coming. Led me to meet a lot of people. I got to travel and meet so many different people playing baseball. College, obviously, you meet a ton of people as well. But it led to me so many things. Some things that stuck out to me from my high school career and college career is scoring that 1,000-point in basketball. I didn't really work entirely a ton at my basketball game, but when I actually played, I felt like I played as hard as I could. So that really stuck out to me. That was meant a lot. And it's Chris Fulton here. You mentioned him earlier. To Fulton, I was gonna say there was one summer going into my freshman year that I practiced basketball more than I did any other year. Me, Daniel, and him would play basketball on the playground pretty much every single day in that summer. I was just gonna rub it in his face that he was in college. I beat him like 21 3 times, but he's not here. 3 times I remember it. But I remember that, my career passing record in high school, I definitely remember that one. That 86-yard pass. Ken, thank you for that one too. That was an easy pitch and catch. But there's some other things here that you really learn about yourself when playing a sport. And both of mine that I'm about to mention here. So obviously I had a good high school career. There's a time in my junior year, or 2 times in my junior year, one when we were playing Carlisle, which is actually the same game that I had that pass. I learned that I could take over games by throwing the ball. And when you learn something like that, you wish you had learned it earlier, and it just boosts your confidence level so much higher. Later that year, I think we were in our actually first playoff game. I learned that I could take over games using my legs. And so I felt like really, when I was going into my senior year, after learning those 2 things, I was just going to take off. And I think there's a couple of things I had to battle a hamstring injury early on, but I put it to good use. But learning those things and being able to put that to use is something that I feel like I would have never got without playing the sports that I played. Let's see here. Some of the things that I'm really proud about also is that not many people can say they played Big Ten football. And with also on top of that here, I can say that I've had 2 games where I've had 2 interceptions in one game. I've thrown, I've rushed, and I've caught a touchdown pass. And playing Big Ten football, and that's I don't know. That's just one of my coolest things when I'm looking back at it. I'm thinking not many people can say they did that. But going into, obviously I played all 3 sports, so why football? And why did I kind of pursue that here? And to be honest with you, I didn't even know the reason why. I just knew until after my college career, I just knew I was always going to be doing it. And after you're done playing here, it's a big adjustment. And then I realized that the reason I love football so much, and why probably a lot of people love this here, is it gives you meaning, gives you purpose. And with meaning, like a lot of great things come with it. It gives you drive, gives you work ethic, gives you something to look forward to. So much to the fact that it was always on my mind. I would wake up, work out with the team, go to class, go to a baseball game or a basketball game, and afterwards go back and work out. It was just something that was always on my mind that I looked forward to every single year. And it was also the only sport that I ever got nervous for. I don't know why. I feel like so many people were leaning on me in that sport and knowing what I could do, and it made me work that much harder, giving even more meaning here. So I learned later in life that was the reasoning why I loved it so much, and I wouldn't change anything I did for the world. I would like to share with you guys another story here. When I first going from a small town to Big Ten football, going in after my senior year, I worked extremely hard that summer trying to get prepared to physically, because I knew the first thing that they would see about me is how hard I worked in the weight room, how hard I worked conditioning with the team. So I worked extremely hard. I followed their guide that they gave me to a T. Every single thing they told me to do, I did. My first day there, I remember calling my brother afterwards, and I told him, I was like, these guys are out of shape. I was like, I think I made a big impact here my first day, and only if I could have saw myself the next day, because we did this agility workout, which was so intense and lasted so long that I was outside the locker room throwing up for about 30 minutes afterwards. And it didn't stop there. The next day in the weight room, the strength coaches did the same thing to me. So this is a 3-day span. I've already been sick twice. So I was like making a great impression on the coaches. Actually, the guy that recruited me came up to me and made fun of me because I was so tired. I was running with the lineman at the end on that one day. The lineman. He still didn't let us live that down even after my senior year. And the last thing I want to say here, obviously I try to look forward in my life, but when you get inducted to something like this, you really have to look back at the things you did. And so much pride, so many things come to mind. I'm so proud of the way I handled myself. I'm so proud of the way what my teammates and I, what we accomplished. And hopefully I made you guys proud as well. And then I'll leave you with one last story, because it kind of stuck with me my entire college career, and it's because of you guys. But my coach, my offensive coordinator, he came and watched me warm up for one of my games my senior year. And it's never happened to him that so many people from West Milton came up and talked to him about me. He was blown away by it, and because you guys all said so many nice things. So when I came in, he spread the rumor that I had a statue. Keep in mind, you guys would have had that, or I would have had to have the statue while I was still in high school for this rumor to even happen. So this rumor stuck with me. So before I knew it, everybody on the team was coming up and asking me about my statue, and I never denied it once. I just let it grow. Even when I was a senior year, freshmen would be coming up to me asking about my statue. They would ask me, is it like Tebow's statue, or is it like the Heisman? And after I graduated, I thought that was pretty much done with. Until about 3 years later, I was sitting at my Kayla's parents' house, and my brother-in-law, he's like, "Hey Mitch, let me see a picture of your statue." This is 3 years after, and I was just blown away by that, how it spread to so many people, just from you guys coming up and talking to that coach. But thank you so much for having me here and inviting me in. I'm so proud to be part of this committee and this Hall of Fame. But thank you so much, guys.
Let's have a round of applause for all of our inductees. Every year I listen to these speeches and they just get better and better. It's amazing. You guys all did a really great job. All right, now a couple housekeeping things before we eat. After we have our invocation here in a minute or two, we'd ask all the Hall of Famers who are here to go over to my right, where the risers are over there. We're going to form on those risers and have a picture taken. So everyone who is a Hall of Famer over there as soon as we get through the invocation. Families are welcome to come over and take that picture too. Although I will tell you that with your individual honoree, you also have time to do that after the gymnasium presentation out by the Hall of Fame display. So you have plenty of time for picture taking, and that's just one of them there. Once we get done with the pictures, we'll go ahead and start eating, and I'd ask that you let the inductees and their families go first, and then we'll release the tables as the line goes down. This is your last chance to enter the 50-50 drawing, so Dana Dixon's back there. He's got some students. He's saying it's not him. He's pointing at a student, so the students are back there waving. So if anybody wants to get the 50-50, raise your hand. We'll send the students around to you, and we'll get a 50-50 ticket sold. Let's see. There were, I mentioned that. Okay, I would like to recognize our program sponsors for this year. Cliff Poling, optometrist. DW Kendall Insurance, Edward Jones and Associates, that's Vicki Bly, McGrath Service Center, the Milton Union Track Club, School Insurance Consultants, LLC, and Corky O'Callaghan. These individuals and companies have made contributions to our Hall of Fame and help us put on this program every year. The Hall of Fame receives no financial support from the school itself, and we do rely on fundraisers and donations. So if you'd like to be a donor for this or next year's program, please contact Ron Berner or Mark Lane, and they'll tell you how you can be a part of helping us put on this great program. I also want to give special thanks to Mark Lane. Our AD has helped us immensely. He's really been there when we needed him. He's filled right in. You may contact Mark with any nominations for future Hall of Fame, with the only stipulation being that the nominee must have been graduated 10 years prior to the year of induction. So our next class is officially the class of 2018. After our meal, if you'd like to watch the basketball game, there is a designated seating area. The gym, if you've been here before, it's always been on to my left. This year it's to my right, so it'll be just as you come in the door. That is the home section now. So when you come in, it's immediately to your left, and you can sit there and watch the game until we're ready for the gymnasium presentation, which will be between the JV and varsity games.